Hi there everyone, my name's David, I'm from Amos and Riot. So I'm going to walk you through a project that me and Paul took together. It was a vocal track we'd done with Susie called Reunited, and this was released July of 2018 on Sean Dias's Degenerate Records. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a playthrough of the track first of all, and then I'll start to break everything down in terms of the processing and how each part seemed to fit in the final mix, as it were. So this is I'll give you a playthrough of the project first of all. Nothing overly complex channel-wise. Colour code everything, drums all in red, effects all in yellow. Faces in blue, acids like orange, piano black. Some of the vocal atmospheres are green, purple. Add some blue and turquoise, and then dark sort of like turquoise colour for the vocals that Susie done. And then the same applies for the group channels down here. 10 groups in total, and then just the entire 70 channels themselves.
Soon our time will come. We'll be reunited. We've been away too long. Don't keep me hanging on, 'cause I'm too weak to fight it. I need you in my arms. Don't leave me crestfallen. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for you to come. Don't leave me crestfallen. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for you to come back. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for you to come back. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for you to come back.
So that's the main track itself. So I'm going to jump straight in to the drums first of all. So here we've got kick, clap, 2 open hi-hats, 3 loops, and a offbeat ride cymbal. So the kick single hits like drums and claps and single hi-hats. They were programmed using Native Instruments battery. What I like about battery is I like how much of a nicer workflow it is, and I like how you can swap the samples quite easily as well. You can always go between each different sampler really as well, or drum sample rather. It's something that we've been using for quite a while, as long as me and Paul had worked together. So kick sounds like this. So put the kick right into mono first of all, and then a bit of transient shaping using the transient designer, give a bit more of a tact to it, and took a bit of the sustain out, bit of a slight boost on the high end, same on the low end on the kick as well, the same frequency the high end, and lastly a bit of compression just to make it really power through without all the process sounds like this. Quite flat sort of sounding kick, and then bring it all back in again. Clap wise, single clap, not overly extreme, bit of EQing, with the Cubase graphic EQ and shaped a lot of the bottom end which didn't need to be there. 2 open pairs, one slightly panned left, one slightly panned to the right. That one's less was quite sharp sounding, and then we added this Kramer tape, so it was a lot less sharp, so it gave chance for other parts of the track to really breathe through. And then because there were 2 hi-hats there, it was easy to just have them panned slightly either way, and we had this Riot symbol lastly just here as well. Quite low back in the mix, but just there to give a bit more presence to the offbeat rhythm. 3 loops as well going on. Quite a fast sort of percussion loop. A bit more mid-rangey sort of percussion loop as well. And then lastly, quite a sort of high-endy sort of open hi-hat as well. All the percussion loops sound together like this. In fact, all the drums will sound like this. And what you can notice here, we've routed all the drums as well as the percussion loops. So that's the kick, the clap, the open hi-hats. We didn't route the ride, to be honest though, and the percussion loops, we routed them into an overall drum bus. And then what we've done, this is something that Paul learned a while back, and it seemed to work quite well for this track. We put an overall distortion unit on the drums and give a bit of a boost, only not too much drive to it, so this is how they all sound together. If you bypass the distortion unit, a lot more dull and a lot less bright than what they were. So it seems to make quite a difference having that unit on. Not something that I would normally consider at the time when we first started producing it, but it seemed to work really well for this track, especially in the later stages. Then the bass lines we got, there's 5 different mid basses and then sub bass as well, so each bass layer. So this one's quite, I'd say the very main one, kept that just quite flat with not much movement at all really. This one more bottom end to it and has a bit more of a groove to it, as it were. Jump it more up and down between the octaves. This one seems to be pushed more to the sides a little, quite wider. And then we had this bass here, quite a sidetrans sort of bass line. I was panned slightly to the left. And another sidetrans sort of sound of bass line. I was panned all the way to slightly to the right of the sub bass. I was done using the Moog, which Paul's got, so we had to bounce that out using audio. It was quite warm sort of sound, then so we bit of an EQing on the sub and quite a bit of compression going on as well. So each the individual mid bass layers has an SSL compression unit on it. Nothing overall as such. Really there just to keep things in check really. Gain reduction of around about 8 on that one. And without it, it seems to make it a little bit more tighter, as it were. And then acids. Or 303 sound acid. Quite more of a tech trance sound on acid, this one. and then go back to the 303 sort of acid, and come here to when the keys change from major into minor. And this acid going on here seems to open up quite more brighter sounding, so it wouldn't really work. This part of the track was basically absolute darkness. There's all the acids there, and that one we got rid of when it came back again. Just again go from the dark into the lighter section of the track with the key changed. Piano using one of the hits from the first chord change. So to give the listeners a bit of a hint as to what's going to be coming up in a bit. Got this choir going on here in one atmosphere as well. And then open up with sidechain pads. Got all the bottom end cut off on the pads. A bit of delay, a bit more width as well. Nothing overly extreme used. And then with all the bass lines coming to where the main vocal comes in. So this track wasn't supposed to be a vocal track in the beginning. It was a completely different lead melody to what was on the final release. How this became a vocal track, Susie came on board to the project after we were put in contact with her by Sue McLaren, and we sent her the track as we thought it'd be nice to give it a go and have a vocal on it, and it felt like the missing piece to the puzzle. We just could never seem to get anywhere with this track at all. And then when we had the vocals come back, a completely overhaul, give the lead melody a massive overhaul to what you hear on the final release. So coming into the vocals now, actually, we've split the vocals up into 4 separate parts. The main lead vocal, high harmony and the low harmony, will be routed to this main group. A bit of compression going on the vocal as well, and then using the isotope neutron 2. As you can see, quite a bit of EQ going on, and just a bit of excitement going on. So they got more of a presence in the mix. So coming on to the lead vocal part.
Soon our time will come. We'll be
So it shaves off a lot of the bottom end. There's quite a bit of boxiness in the files that Susie sent to us. So we got a lot of the bit of the bottom end that just didn't need to be there. And then we give a bit of a high boost so that the higher frequencies are cut through, but so to keep at the same time keep the sibilance under control. Same applied on the SSL channel strip that was used for this, and then we ran it through the LA2A compression as well.
Soon our time will come.
This is without the LA2A on.
Soon our time will come.
Bit of a difference as to how it made. It seems to really bring out the some of the really quieter parts of the vocal, bring them more to the forefront as well. So, for example, here,
soon our time will come.
Instantly the lower part of the vocal, when the word time in particular, and especially that first sibilance, it becomes a lot more prominent when the compression was added, and done EQ using the passive EQ. Now, normally, we were using just a little bit of a side note here. For the original project, we'd used a lot of the UAD stuff. However, since I've gotten hold of the project, there's a lot of third-party stuff from the UAD which I've had to replace with very similar sounds, but I've reprogrammed the exact same settings as it would have been on the UAD unit, especially with the manual EQ. So this EQ here is a variant of the Manly EQ. If you look at this, so this is the EQ here, exactly the same sort of layout in terms of where everything's all placed and the same sort of frequency. So I literally just dialed in the same settings from the Manly onto the passive EQ from Native Instruments, and we managed to get exactly the same results as what we did with the Manly. And you'll see this quite a bit with this passive EQs used as well. So we got this going on, bit of a boost on the high end as well. Fed it through the tape echo from UAD, and then a bit more tape on from the vocals themselves.
We'll be reunited.
And then lastly,
You've been away too
some stereo delay, 2 different settings, left side on the quarter and right side on an eighth.
'cause I'm too weak to fight it.
And lastly, going through a vocal plate reverb using the lexicon.
Don't leave me crestfallen.
And then the 2 harmonies. So the higher harmony.
I'll be waiting for you to come. Crestfallen.
Not much going on at all, other than just the channel strip that we used. We wanted them quite distant because of the main vocals themselves were quite was a prominent part of the tracks. We didn't want anything overshadowing it really. Same applied with the lower harmony as well.
Crestfallen. Crestfallen. I'll be waiting for
So you can hear that the higher harmony is just about there, but it's not obvious really. At least then the leads can still have room to breathe before they fully open up here. And even when the leads fully open up, the vocals can still cut through quite a bit. Onto the leads, quite a bit going on. 8th delay, again back to the passive EQ. Quite a few extreme settings going on here to really give the real presence of the mix. You just look here around the 2K sort of region, there's a bit of a boost going on there. And then just fine tune some of the individual frequency parts as well, get rid of a little bit of the rumble here as well. Some stereo width, let's push them out to the side a little bit more. We've got this BX subsynth as well. You can get this plugin on native, or before this Paul had it on UAD. What it's actually done, the subsynth plugin, it's got rid of some of the boxiness that really seemed to be prevalent when the leads were playing, and fed it through the decapitator, another distortion unit, give it quite a bright tone, not too much distortion, just a small drive, so they really cut through the mix when everything was all playing at once. And lastly sent through a reverb, and then when you had the drop, some small side chaining, and then the overall filter here. So what we done here on the individual lead channels, I'd done the filter from the synth itself, then we put an overall group filter on the lead as well, so that when the vocals were still singing, nothing was overshadowed from what Susie was singing. So you can hear the leads coming in, but it's not too obvious, as it were. And then it's surrounded by these pads also. Set the pads through the Studer tape. quite a bit of stereo width going on considerably on the brake pads compared to the pads on the drop. Quite a lot of reverb as well. A couple of effects building up before it drops. Mainly crash cymbals, snare rolls, a couple of up sweeps and down sweeps, and a few like techie sort of like stabs and vocal hits as well. And we had this drum fill here, which came in as the last stages of the track. It was something that Sean Tyers had given a kick up the arse for us to do, just to make the track a little bit more unique, and it did seem to really work. So this is the drum fill. So for this, I done it using Ableton, using a drum pack from one of the drum bass packs. I believe it was by Michael Shack. It was. Used one of the MIDI grooves that was in it, along with some of the samples. Rearranged them. Had quite a bit of compression, and then put an overall filter on it, so that it built up nicely to when the kick came back in on the drop as well. And the drop pads here, there's two separate drop pads. That's the first drop pad, the second drop pad, playing a different chord progression to that of the first. I mean, it's the same keys, the same chords, but variations of it, rather than having the same MIDI file. It seemed to really work and make it sounding more nicer harmonically. Just going using Serum. That was quite far back in the mix, but then at the same time there were some elements you don't want too far forward. You want to at least give some sort of room to breathe for the parts in the track as well. And then we've got these two little plugs here as well, and that's the main plug. Quite sort of like Vandit sort of sounded. The top one just seemed to get a bit more of a high-end edge to it, and a bit more overall body to it as well. And then these vocal chops that I'd cut from the original vocal that Susie had sent. And they were done using Ableton, taking up the original vocal and changing it to get that final vocal chop at the here at the end. You can hear the pianos from the break part, or two parts of the pianos. And this is how the pianos sound all together at the break as well. So some tape warmth from the Ampex, then running through channel strip plugin for the SSL one. Using the onboard compression unit, a bit of EQ as well, and a quarter delay. And then Paul used the Neutron 2 from Isotope. Bit of compression, quite a bit of DD done with the pianos, and then added a limiter just to keep them present in the mix, so they didn't completely drop out when the leads come back in. still there. They're exactly where they needed to be. Come to the outro and the key changes, and come back to absolute darkness again. So here it is with the last of the melodic section, and reintroducing this dark atmosphere. Really sort of like minor, sort of like eerie sort of atmosphere going on. We've got this sort of like techie stab, quite like partisan sort of sounding. And then a vocal hit as well. So yeah, I hope that covers everything that both of you guys want to know in terms of how me and Paul work together, and how I still work on my own stuff under Amos and Riot Night. If there's any particular parts that you do want to know specifically, then feel free to shoot us a message, leave a comment as well. I can always look to do it either on this particular project or on any other project as well. So really hope you enjoyed this, and take care, and I shall see you all very soon. Thank you.